The sky, the sheep consumed. Before that man finished, a third taken, camels taken, more servants dead, and then the last messenger, a great wind, a collapsing house. Satan walked into the throne room of heaven. No alarm sounded, no gate broke. He simply appeared among the sons of God, as if he belonged there. And God did something stranger than anything Satan did. He asked him a question. Where have you come from? Not a rebuke, not a command to leave, just a question, the kind a judge might ask before a hearing begins. Satan answered, "Wandering the earth," he said, walking back and forth across it. And then God did something almost impossible to explain. He brought up a name, Job, a man who had done nothing wrong. "Have you considered my servant Job?" God asked. "There is none like him in the earth, blameless, upright, a man who fears God and turns away from evil." Satan didn't argue the description. He didn't say Job was secretly guilty of something. He attacked the reason underneath the righteousness. Does Job fear God for nothing? "Look at what you've given him," Satan said. "The wealth, the protection on every side. Take it away, and he'll curse you to your face." That single sentence is the entire book of Job, compressed into an accusation. Not, is Job good, but is Job's goodness real or is it rented? Would he still love God with nothing to gain from it? God didn't answer with a defense. He answered with a boundary. "All that he has is in your power. Only do not lay a hand on the man himself." And Satan left the room. What happened next took less than a day. A messenger arrived, oxen and donkeys stolen, servants killed. Before he finished speaking, another arrived, fire from the sky, the sheep consumed. Before that man finished, a third taken, camels taken, more servants dead, and then the last messenger, a great wind, a collapsing house. Job's 7 sons and 3 daughters gathered together for a meal, all of them gone in a single moment. In one day, Job lost everything he owned and every child he had. Every single thing Satan predicted would happen, happened. So the question hangs in the air, was Satan right? Jonan stood up, he tore his robe, shaved his head, fell to the ground, and he said the words that have outlived him by 3,000 years. "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Scripture records the verdict in a single line. In all this, Job did not sin. Round 1, over. But it wasn't finished. He came again, into the same room, before the same council, and God brought up Job's name again, this time adding something pointed. Job holds fast his integrity, although you moved me against him to destroy him without cause. Notice that phrase. God doesn't erase Satan's role in the accusation, but he states plainly that what happened was permitted. Not stolen, not forced from the outside. Satan pushed further. "Skin for skin," he said. "A man will give everything he has for his own life. Touch his body. Then he'll curse you." The accusation had changed shape. It was no longer about possessions. It was about pain. God
permitted the second test with one line drawn. "He is in your hand, but spare his life." And Job's body broke, boils from the soles of his feet
to the crown of his head. He sat in ashes. He scraped his own skin with a piece of broken pottery. His wife looked at him and said, the only thing left to say in a moment like that.
"Curse God and die."
Job didn't. "Shall we accept good from God," he said, "and not accept trouble?" And Scripture closes the scene the same way it opened it. In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. Twice tested, twice unbroken. But here is the detail the rest of the book refuses to let go of. Job never heard any of it. He never heard the question in the throne room. He never heard his own name spoken there. He never learned that his suffering had a cause, a courtroom, a wager behind it. For chapter after chapter, Job sits in ashes, arguing with 3 friends. They insist he must have sinned to deserve this. And Job insists he hasn't, because he knows the truth they don't. He simply doesn't know the truth we do. And when God finally speaks to Job, out of a whirlwind, after 37 chapters of silence, he doesn't explain the
wager. He doesn't say, "Satan accused you, and I allowed it." He asks Job a different kind of question. "Where were you when I laid the foundations of
the earth? Have you entered the storehouses of the snow?" No apologies, no explanation, just the sheer, overwhelming scale of who is speaking. So what really happened when Satan appeared before God? Not an invasion, not a war breach, an accuser with a place in the room, raising a real question about whether human faith can survive without a reward attached to it. God didn't silence the question, he let it be tested on a man who never knew he was being tested at all. And that's the detail this story never resolves, and maybe never intended to. Job got no explanation, he got God instead. Whether that was enough, Scripture doesn't argue the point. It simply shows us a man who decided that it was.